shapes up. Here's the double opening. It's kind of a little bit more difficult to wall off. It's not super difficult, but you know, a lot of Ling aggression, a lot of Roach Ravager play. Can find some success on this map.
Yep, let's see what PandaBearMe goes for. He's the player to keep an eye out for because he has to do something. Him winning this match would be a miracle. So, yeah.
Don't worry, Nate. He is a memer. He always has his memes prepared.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, these are like, this is totally not set up. Okay, the controls on this for the interface are like different. I don't know what they are, so we won't have that thing. We are loaded in though. In the top left position, we have the blue Zerg player. He is PandaBearMe.
And his opponent, spine down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it is our red Protoss player. It's Neeb.
So yeah, this is a best of 5, mind you. The controls for this interface, I don't know what they are on this computer, so I can't fix that thingy. But didn't think I'd be observant, so.
Okay, well, you know what? We'll bear with it, guys. And hopefully you'll be able to do as good of a shot as I hope PandaBearMe is going to be able to do in this game. I know we keep talking about how good Neeb is, but this really is possibly the hardest and most one-sided matchup in the quarterfinals right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what PandaBearMe busts out, because I know that he has special stuff prepared. He is going to face off versus Neeb, and even if he manages to win this, he knew he was going to likely potentially face off either versus Puck, who's another Protoss player, or Semper. So really all his focus right now is just on this match. Everything he has been doing for the past couple of weeks is, how do I beat this guy Neeb?
Yeah, there's no easy answer to that question. Neeb is one of the best. I think at this point, a lot of people would say he's probably the second best because Serral has ascended to that insanely high level. We have the probe trying to mess with this. The smooth follow hotkey has also been changed on this, so I don't know what that is anymore either. Sorry. So I can't smoothly follow things.
Control Shift F?
Doesn't work.
Oh boy. Okay. We gave it a shot. All right. Well, so far we haven't seen any kind of early aggression at PandaBearMe, just going for the hatch gas pool, kind of regular-ish opening. This is what I was talking about before, though. Neeb, sometimes he'll cut some corners and he'll play a little bit greedy just because he knows he's so good that he can get away with playing greedy. But occasionally, every once in a blue moon, it actually backfires on him, and then he kind of dies to something that you're like, really? Really, Neeb? You weren't ready for that?
Going straight for the Adept with the Stargate. Hasn't even started his Warp Gate yet. The gas allocation is to the tech as fast as humanly possible. So we're gonna see Neeb probably open up with that Oracle. Maybe usually sometimes it's like Oracle, or you go Oracle Phoenix. And you're basically just trying to set up for the map control, having the vision. Oracles also provide a lot of utility in that third base taking stage where you sometimes will see the Zerg player flood out Lings to try and shut you down. But using the Adept to scout, he wants to see how many drones are being made. He wants to know that there's not some giant amount of Zerglings being pocketed in the back or something to that effect.
Okay, is he going to let the Shade finish? Probably not, as he waits for that second Adept. Just like you said, trying to get some scouting information. While behind this, he's going to be, of course, going for his own natural expansion. It looks like I've been able to take over on the observing, Nate. Just, nice. I need to put that out there so that when I royally miss something completely, you don't get blamed for it.
That's fine. There you go. Spear Dragon's doing the opposite now. We Gucci.
Adepts gonna get one of them gets picked off pretty quickly. Really nice surrounds over here from PandaBearMe for the most part. He's losing a couple of these Lings, but he's not losing any of the drones. And back at home, Neeb of course just buying some time, but he hasn't completed that wall off or anything. And there are a decent number of Lings that were made, but for the most part he's just going up to lair, and PandaBearMe not looking to get aggressive.
Yeah. So PandaBearMe is in this awkward spot where he has all the pressure on him to make something happen and get a lot of work done. Moving those Adepts out the way that Neeb did is a bit risky because it makes it hard to take the third base that's on the outside, since usually you'll try to drop the Nexus and keep a couple of your Adept SimCity between like a pylon and that and a gas geyser. So he's going to take the back third. That one's a lot. That one will be, he won't need any extra Adepts to hold on to that one since his Oracle's on the other side of the map. I think that's got, picked up 2 kills across the map there. So.
Yeah, not too bad. Small little bits of damage. As
taking the health, I think the health damage is probably the worst part about that for Neeb, just because that Oracle is going to be so much more vulnerable the next time that it dives in. But
most players will do these days. Most of them really like to go up to the Oracle and then just go straight into like one Phoenix and then transition out into your Robo, your Twilight, and everything. So Neeb gonna try and mix it up, maybe get a bit more damage done. But okay,
Phoenix
this
are
is
in the main right now.
Oh, this is what I'm talking about though. We have a Nidus Worm coming down, and it's going down in a place that's not where any of the creep is actually connected to. So Neeb might not see this, but he might, with the Phoenix kind of sitting around and the Oracle continue to poke forward.
Yeah, he has no idea that that's happening. And I think what's really important is, like, not seeing this is really bad, because at this point, to deal with an attack like this, he's going to need to Chrono Boost out, like, Immortals and Void Racer to set up the Phoenix poke over towards that side, but
he didn't see the creep either, so he doesn't even know that there's creep being pooped out there.
Yep, that hurts. He needs to scout this 100%. Like, you've got to be wondering what your opponent is up to. You don't see Hydralisk Den, you don't see Aspire. Where is the Lair Tech going? What is the Lair Tech for? Immortal is on the way. 3 shield batteries, 4 shield batteries are being added to the front. 5 now.
Oh, Nate, I mean, the shield batteries at the front are
he's getting 2 in the main. He's getting 2 inside of his main base. This is really important because he sees the Overseer coming, and that Nidus Worm is about to start. He will have an Immortal. A second one is being Chrono Boosted out as we speak. Changeling's running towards the main base mineral line. And there's the Nidus right next to the starport.
Okay, Neeb, he doesn't see it. He doesn't. Okay, he sees it now. I was like, wait a second. No, Neeb, don't go away from your main base. And, attacking his own Stalker a little bit jumpy there.
Okay, so if the Phoenix can pick up the Queens, then he can prevent the transfuses. There we go. There's the lift-ups. He's trying to get that Nidus knocked down. He does not to stop it from unloading. He does use the Guardian, so he's got a good amount of units here, but the Nidus Worm is still alive.
Wow.
And that Immortal backs up to the shield battery, still picking up the Queens. Extremely important. Probes are going to get pulled by Neeb to help deal with this. Where is that second Immortal? It should be coming up right now. Nidus is killed, and PandaBearMe's attack should be held with the backbone of these Immortals and those shield batteries to support them.
He has enough resources to maybe start making another Nidus Worm soon. He's target firing down that Immortal, but the shield battery keeps it alive. And like you said, PandaBearMe gets cleaned up, and that's going to be GG. But Nate, damn, I feel like PandaBearMe got really close to that.
Did he though? I think Neeb's reaction, despite not seeing the Nidus network for the longest time, was like the reaction to just put the 2 shield batteries in his main, I think, is what sealed the deal. As soon as he had those, I think with 2 Immortals and using, I would have said that I thought he was going to get the Nidus Worm. I thought he was going to kill it faster, but there just wasn't a whole lot of units. Like, he got the 2 drones with the Adepts, he picked off a few drones with the Oracle, then he got 2 more drones with the Phoenix. I think he took a lot of steam out of this push before it was able to hit for PandaBearMe.
It did slow things down a lot, but remember that when you go for that Phoenix, he's getting a lot of damage done, which is super important. But in that situation, if you go for all these Phoenix, you don't have the gateway units, you don't have a lot of these other gateways themselves. You just are lacking so much.
The most important thing that Neeb did was, with his robotics facility timing, going straight for the Immortals. If he had built like 2 observers or something, which, like, and you don't need to do that because you have
even
the
if
Phoenix
he built like a Warp Prism, it gets really weird.
Yeah, not going straight for the Immortals would have probably cost him the game. But when I saw that, I think the shield batteries with the Immortal that's pretty hard to break. So
yeah.
I like Neeb's decision-making in that game. Without a lot of information, he still made some very smart, safe choices.
Yeah, just being able to, it's like you said, he didn't actually see the Nidus Worm inside of that, that little tucked away base, but he did just see enough information or the lack of things that he was like, oh, okay, hold on, something's going on. And by throwing down the shield batteries, without those shield batteries, I actually think he just dies. He does not survive that without the shield batteries, because otherwise the Immortals start dying. Once the Immortals die, you don't have any units.
His Immortals soaked an insane amount of damage, which was so important, because that's your primary target when you're the Zerg player in a scenario like that, because the Immortal destroys the Nidus Worm really easily. It destroys your Roaches, of course, and then they're not bad versus Queens. So
okay,
Neeb did a great job. I thought he was going to get the Nidus Worm as soon as it popped, because he got the Graviton beams on the Queens. He was able to pick them up, but PandaBearMe did a solid job of giving himself as much of an opportunity as possible with his attack.
Yeah, I think the hard part now is that PandaBearMe has kind of used up one of his sort of coin tosses of like, okay, is this all in gonna work? Neeb sort of holds it off and you're like, okay, I now need 3 more all-ins that are going to work, or 3 different ways I can sneak in a quick one on Neeb.
I like the thought process behind putting the Overlord in the back, dropping Creep there, and building the Nidus network there, because it gave him more of an opportunity. Of course, Neeb's really good at the game, so it's hard to say like it gave him a chance, but Neeb didn't see it, right? And he was in all of those bases the whole time, scouting around, trying to see what PandaBearMe was up to, and I guess like if you think about tech that Zerg players usually hide, it would probably be a Nidus or a Spire.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, I've got Phoenix. I'm not really worried about a Spire because, you know, Phoenix just wreck mutas. And if it's a Nidus, just build Immortals. Maybe a Void Ray.
Yeah, he covered his bases really well. That's actually a really good point. So we'll see what PandaBearMe is going to be able to bust out. The next map will be Catalyst as well. And this can be, I mean, this map can allow itself for some kind of funky stuff. I really like that you brought up the Mutalisk play, because it wouldn't surprise me if we saw some sort of really fast Mutalisk play, just because there are a lot of Protoss builds that players will go for that don't really fully respect the mutas. You'll be like, I got a Phoenix and I have a Stargate. I'm fine, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the Stargate opening is still so strong versus Zerg because Oracles and Phoenix can deal with pretty much anything that the Zerg tries to do outside of like a really, really fast, like 1 base or 1.5 base all in. And even then, when an Oracle comes out, that ability to shut down Lings pushing a wall gives you time to build shield batteries or get adepts or what have you. So let's see if this guy's got anything else in store to try and bring this series back. In the northwest position, we have the blue Zerg. He is PandaBearMe.
And his opponent spawning down in the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have our red Protoss player. It is Ting's Neeb.
$354,000. Not too shabby. He's been with Team Ting for a good while now. They've been very supportive to him. Those guys are awesome to see them at the events. And Neeb is, you know, his whole story was that he was the best player, you know, outside Korea for 2017. And we didn't get to see that, unfortunately, at the Global Finals. He had some amazing matches in the round of 16, but he was in probably one of the, I guess, I don't want to say one of the toughest groups because all those groups are insanely difficult at the end of the year. He had the amazing upset to kick it off in the PvP, but couldn't close it out to actually move past that. And, well, we all saw how that went. So Neeb is a player that plays very well all year, but he's definitely struggled at the Global Finals. And it kind of, hopefully this gives anyone tuning in that maybe hasn't followed this a whole lot some idea of the scale. Because I don't really have much to say about Neeb during the year because he is so good. I expect him 100% to be at the global playoffs at the end of the year. I expect him to win a circuit event this year. He is that good. He should be doing that. Anything less is a failure for Neeb. So his story this year has to be finding that next level, you know, that ultra instinct, something that puts him above the rest of the players because he's been on the top for a while. But you got to keep moving.
Yeah, it's sort of funny. Last year, he worked so hard. I mean, the way that Neeb came up in the scene was not, oh, he's just a natural talent guy. You know, he's not like a Stefano that just kind of is like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go out and party, wake up for my next match. No, Neeb just plays 14 hours of StarCraft every day. He actually burnt himself out right before BlizzCon. He wasn't playing much StarCraft right before BlizzCon, and that has, I think, a lot to do with that. But, man, okay, I want to talk about this game really quickly. He went for the Nexus first, clearly just not showing full respect for PandaBearMe and the all-ins he could be pulling out, but it works out this game. And, man, this is... okay, he's adding on another gateway. That's all well and good, but he's also getting up the Sentry, which I feel like is a little less common these days.
Yeah, you don't see it, but it means that he doesn't want to play Stargate opening, right? Because he's going to use the Hallucinated Phoenix to scout, and it's a Twilight Council. Now, this leads me to believe that Neeb is about to do one of two things. First thing, not probably what's going to happen. You know, adept memes are still a thing. Like, I guess, maybe. I don't know. They have, like, the orange beams of death when you get the resonating glaives. But I think what's more likely, and what we've seen out of Neeb several times before, as you show me the gas geysers, is maybe that charge lot build.
Yep.
You know, the I call it the charge lot buffet because the Protoss player just shoves them down your throat until you choke on them. Because there's a lot. There's going to be a lot of zealots coming out. And that's, yeah, I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding. Well, I think the pudding's been served actually already. My bad.
Yeah, as soon as you start seeing a Protoss player making multiple zealots before Warp Gate technology's finished up, you're like, okay, I know what this is.
Why
Oh,
might
wow.
my opponent want to build a bunch of zealots? Pray tell.
Probe killing a Ling. That's a nice little victory, keeping that probe alive. But PandaBearMe, is he going to have any idea about this? He's moving in with one of his slow overlords to try and scout things out. And I think the zealots have been kept outside the vision of the overlord on the high ground by the natural. So this gets a little bit weird, because if you just spot the Twilight... Okay, he sees the sentry. That's kind of important. But if you just spot the Twilight Council, it's sometimes a little hard to tell if this is going to be a depths or if it's going to be charge lots.
I mean, he's trying to hide what he's doing right now because he's still mining his gas. But the moment that Overlord dies, I fully expect Neeb to pull his probes off of the assimilators and go right back to... You know what?
He sees all the zealots. He knows what's coming now.
Yeah, he took the gas in his natural too. Like he's really trying to fake him out because he doesn't have anything else that he could follow up off of this yet without starting Blink in a third base or what have you. Okay, so he is going to take the third behind this. I think with the amount of gas that he's mined, he can't really build the number of zealots he would want to. Maybe his goal was to make him think it was the zealot all in and build a bunch of roaches. And since he scouted it, that's what he's like hoping for.
Okay, couple of Lings gonna poke at that third. It's just sort of being annoying, and forcing Warpins back at home is definitely not too bad. But remember, there's not exactly a Warp Prism or anything, so this is kind of like the fake-out charge lot all in, where he goes for the third. He really intends to mine off of it. He's still making workers and everything. And he just scares PandaBearMe into staying on 42 workers. He's making roaches and lings, and then he kind of says, oh, well, shit.
Yep, and I think in this situation, what you do for Neeb then is you're like, well, I already got charged zealots, which are great. Even if you're not all inning, like charged zealots are great units. They do a lot of damage. They have that bonus damage when they impact units because of charge. So getting sentries and immortals versus a player that you've kind of baited into building a bunch of roaches early on, nothing wrong with that. This army is very strong. The question that we ask ourselves now is, will this drop get any damage done? As that's going to move into the northeast side. There's a pylon at the end of Neeb's base, and he is moving his army out.
Ooh.
So
he only has 3 warp gates also, so it is a bit more annoying to try and warp in back at home. He has a couple finishing up, but they're not going to finish up in time for this drop.
I think his goal is to kill the fourth and recall home. This drop only has...
What fourth, Nate? What fourth?
Yeah, that's exactly. And I guess he'll end up attacking the third base, but he needs to use like a couple of his warp-ins to deal with the Zerglings in his main now.
Okay. Well, the Lings have been revealed. He has 2 warp-ins available. Those are going to help quite a bit, because charge plus the zealot damage does clean up those Lings pretty quickly.
Yep, the bouncer zealot that he warped in right between those 2 mineral patches to stop the Lings, actually really nice. Is the immortal lends a hand blowing that up. Third base is now mining for Neeb, and if you're on even bases with the Zerg, as a Protoss, you're a happy boy. You are a very happy boy. He's going to get +1, Templar Archives, add some Archons, and just make a ton of Zealots and Immortals and Archons and try to blow the doors down on this Zerg force.
Nate, I'm trying to figure out what the long-term plan is here for PandaBearMe, because I don't think his army wins this.
He's not teching up. He's just trying to do like a Ling Roach Ravager attack, but his +1 isn't ready.
Yeah.
I mean, Neeb's army's not really in position, so he's going to get a little bit of damage done.
Oh, man. And now 3 Archons going to be added to this. He's got 3 Immortals. He's got a ton of charge lots. He's got Sentries of Force Field for days. And PandaBearMe is just going to get pushed back. This is like an all-in from PandaBearMe.
Yep, painful force fields. He has a bunch of Lings going on the right side, but I do expect to see a bunch of Zealots get warped in to defend against this. Okay, the wall is open.
Okay.
So Neeb has to decide, is he going to recall home? Is he just going to attack and warp in back home? He has a few options that he can go for. There are a lot of roaches in here too. Neeb warps inside the main base to protect his infrastructure. The natural has been evacuated and purged a little bit. Okay. He's just adding Zealots to defend this. That Robo facility is exposed, so getting Immortals out is going to be really tough. Neeb is going for the base trade because he says, I can kill you. I can kill maybe half of your stuff, recall home, and then that's it. The game is over, so...
Oh, man. Dodging the Corrosive Biles with the Warp Prism and making sure those Immortals all stay alive. He's getting such cost-efficient trades. PandaBearMe is cleaning up most of the Zealots, and I guess the weird thing is if the Roaches are able to get on top of the Warp Gates, he's depowered a couple of them. There are... Okay, well, there's 10 Warp Gates. If he gets into the main base and starts depowering those, maybe he can start limiting how many units Neeb can actually produce.
Yeah, but there's still so much inside of his base now, and the natural is... close to forfeit. You have those Archons shooting them lightning bolts. at the roaches in the third base. It will depower, but that Nexus, it has energy. At any point, he can just recall maybe half of this army, and it should be able to deal with most of these roaches. He's cutting it a little bit close since he's losing his warp gates. He actually can't, not being able to add zealots certainly doesn't help. He's still warping in offensive.
Oh. Nate, this gets so weird. This gets really, okay. Yeah, he's going to tap out. Neeb takes the second game.
Neeb's like, I'm not going to defend. He's like, I will just base trade. He's like, I'll kill you faster than you kill me.
Yeah. Oh man, that's rough. I felt like maybe PandaBearMe is able to like deep power everything, and kill off all the Nexus, and then turns this into a really scrappy base trade. But yeah, Neeb just climbs up way too far.
Forget about it. Neeb is really good. I think what we're seeing here is just textbook. Like the build that game was interesting because he was making it unclear what he wanted to go for, but he was building the zealots, but he took all 4 gas geysers before his third base, which is like totally not what you would do in a theoretical best case scenario when you're doing the charge zealot all in. Like obviously you don't want your opponent to know that you're doing it, so you take the gas to fake it out. But at some point he's like, you know what? I think he's probably going to build a bunch of roaches to defend against this, so I'll just be ahead on probes if I just take my third base and, you know, don't cut off all my economy. And that's exactly what happened.
That's probably the most frustrating thing for PandaBearMe too, where it's like, okay, let me come up with the slyest builds I can think of to try and take one off of Neeb. And then Neeb just kind of comes in your face like, oh, shoot, I can't actually do what I wanted to do. I have to defend against this.
Yep, and Neeb is just very good. And I think the way that PandaBearMe was playing that game with like the tech that he went for, he's like, well, I'm going for like this late Roach Ravager Ling thing versus the player with Century Immortal Archon. Like, you try to get up to the Hydralisks or the Banelings for other games, but he feels a little bit flustered because he's like, well, I made all these units. I don't really know what to do with them because there isn't a charge all-in coming. Yeah. And it's difficult. It's very stressful. A player like PandaBearMe, he's not bad, but he's not on Neeb's level. It makes this matchup very rough. And
he's aware of that as well. So, I mean, when you're sitting down 0-2, I feel like the victory line feels almost a little too far away at this point. We have Neeb, who's sitting 22-5 in maps versus PandaBearMe. I think you're just really, at this point, looking for a map victory. You just want something.
Yep. You want something. But that's how everybody felt against Serral yesterday, right?
Yeah, it's like, I want to make sure that I don't want to retire after this series. Just like, I don't want my motivation to be dropped that low.
Yep. All right, the players are readied up, so we should be jumping into this game any moment now as Neeb has his sights set on being the king of NA that we'll go for. Neeb wants to take that throne at the end of today as we are giving out the NA championship.
Yeah, this is sort of just the first round for him and kind of the already fairly established kingship that he's kind of taken over the NA scene.
For Neeb, this is just that quiet little bit of the orchestra that plays before he goes to Austin, and they fire on all cylinders. We bring out everybody on a big stage.
Everyone starts chanting, and everyone thinks online on Reddit. You have all the threads that show up. It's like, why is everyone booing Neeb?
And then at WCS Austin, it's going to be half people holding Finnish flags and half people holding American flags.
There you go. All right, guys. Potentially final map here for this guy. Up in the top right-hand corner of the map, top of the blue Zerg player, it is Meliora Esports' PandaBearMe.
And he faces off against the Titan in red in the Southwest, representing Ting in the United States. He is Neeb.
Man, you're talking about that prize pool last game. You know what's one of the most upsetting things about Neeb?
What?
He is more responsible than 85 or 90% of people I know because he just doesn't spend any of the money.
He's a smart dude. I mean, you start putting that away. Get your IRAs going, keep your money safe. There's no reason to blow it. He's got a long career ahead of him, I imagine.
Oh no. Okay. This is PandaBearMe gonna fall for it?
Is this just like a debate?
It's a fake. Yeah. It's a fake. He didn't go for the Forge first, which is normally to say like I'm gonna go for a Cannon Rush, but PandaBearMe doesn't fall for it.
For a second, I was like, "Whoa! Did In Control like sneak into the lobby? Are we gonna build the Great Wall of Cannons over here?"
Yeah, I mean, forcing 3 drones off isn't too bad. So Neeb isn't going to be too upset about this, but it's always just nice to get in your opponent's head.
You can calculate it, right? It's 100 minerals tied up for a little, then it's just your 25. You keep 3 drones from mining for like 30 seconds, so maybe you deny the Zerg like 100 minerals for 25, right? Like,
Yeah, it gets a little weird too because you're delaying your 7X core for a moment because Protoss builds are pretty figured out at this point.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It's small little things, but none of them I think will make a huge difference in this particular game.
Yeah. Well, we're just, I mean, there's only so much analysis we could do when you know, like, this is like one of those, it's kind of like watching, like, the ceremonial thing here.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, it's just like,
Oh.
PandaBearMe, you have been chosen, the claw. You are the Bambi to the slaughter for Neeb on his path to where he belongs at the top of NA.
That went from like Toy Story to Disney Bambi to I don't even know, some sort of
Yeah.
like sacrificing
It's
to the
dark.
volcano guard.
All you need to know is that it's dark. PandaBearMe showed up and they're like, hey, get into this giant wicker man. It's going to be okay. And they're praying to their god Neeb. So I don't really know what else to say.
I mean, to keep this realistic, I think that more importantly than anything else, PandaBearMe is this player who he's kind of stuck full-time for so long, and he has been looking for justification for remaining full-time as a player. Even taking a map off of Neeb will probably help justify this kind of career path for him. If he loses 0-3, that's just another kind of tally in a long list of I almost made something happen
but you
and I
can't.
didn't.
You can't let that get to you, though. I think it's the same thing as like Uthermal was pretty upset that he lost 0-4 to Cyril, but really you shouldn't let that get to you because Uthermal is a very good player. Cyril is just the best. Like
Yeah.
that's what you expect that from the #1 guy. It's not like it's I should be able to take maps off #1. It's like, well, he probably wouldn't be #1 if he dropped maps to players that weren't winning tournaments. That's kind of what being #1 means.
It's hard, though, I think. You think about it, like, you invest your entire livelihood, the past 2-3 years of your life, you're delaying school and everything else. You want to have some results for it, and unfortunately, this is kind of the only way he can get the results, because he got matched up against Neeb first round. That's life.
Yeah. The DJ has informed me that PandaBearMe hasn't taken a map off Neeb since 2016. It's been a little over 2 years now.
Well.
Also, apparently Todd and Roddy are in the chat. I don't
We're
think we're
watching
gonna
Roddy's stream earlier.
I don't think we're gonna get Protoss Mech out of here, but I wouldn't mind it. There's still time to cancel Warp Gate.
He would do Roddy proud if he did that. And I mean,
Well,
Roddy
he didn't build a Stargate, so he's already
Roddy
disappointed.
did win versus Neeb. So really,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a bad idea to listen to him.
yeah, I completely agree. Templar Archives and a Warp Prism on the way. So we could have the. Oh wait, no, he did go to Stargate. Never mind, I'm completely blind.
Yeah.
But he could go for the Archon drop shenanigans. Lifts up that egg. Cute play. I think he's going for the queen there. Just holding up the queen so the Oracle can grab a few drones. Ideally, gets 2.
Yep.
Phoenix might die. Nope. Oof. Those boys are. How many health is on that?
6 hit points.
6 health. Nice.
Yeah. So pretty close to death. I mean, overall, a solid defense there from PandaBearMe, not losing too much. He's going for the drop Overlord now, though. Okay, this gets weird, Nate, because you're going for the Hydra Den, but you're going to have to deal with the Archon drops pretty shortly with the Templar Archives finished up, and now we got the High Templars being warped in. I don't know if he's going to get a chance to be aggressive, but he kind of really wants to.
Yeah. It's hard to say like what to do, period, in this situation versus Neeb. He's just so good. Like everything just looks so good from him. He's got all the information. He's seen everything that's been going on for the most part. You expect a Zerg to get Hydras, so it's not like he's going to be it's not like he's going to be shocked that Hydralisks are going to be on the map. So
Well, hey,
that
that's a
Prism
good
though.
start.
Woo.
That Warp Prism is so low on hit points.
Playing some hopscotch there. You gotta be real careful with those Archons now. He's gonna add some Zealots. His charge is finishing up. Oh my god. Is he gonna snipe the Prism with the Overlord? Oh. And the air horn.
He's going for it. Wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's really nice. He's going to be able to pick up these queens, save a couple.
You still lose everything for it, but at least he can't reinforce.
Yeah,
I guess?
The third base is really late for Neeb. You have to remember how committed he is to getting some damage done here. His 6 warp gates. He's got those charge loss in the Archons.
He has another Prism coming out. He needs to get that. He needs to get that Prism to the Archons.
This is really delayed, though. I mean, his attack is going to be really delayed, and PandaBearMe was looking to get aggressive himself, so he has the units out as well. This gets really weird.
Yeah. Tries to catch some of these units out in the center of the field, grabs a couple of Zealots and Adept. The Archons with the laser beams blow some of these Lings up. And the Oracle is also there trying to deep fry the Lings getting on top of that third base.
I'm trying to make sense of this one, Nate, because now PandaBearMe has realized kind of what's going on. He's got Spine Crawlers at his third, which I really love, and he's got them in a nice position to deal with Archons. Oh, he's going to reburrow it in a more forward position. I guess, kind of. He's got Hydras out now, too.
It's a pretty good amount of units here for PandaBearMe. Neeb might be getting a little bit ahead of himself. Stopping to warp in is going to expose that Prism. Oh. And PandaBearMe gets close. Wow. He denies a lot of those Zealots from warping in, and he had another wave of reinforcements come from across the map. This might still be too much, but...
Oh my god, Neeb, how can you actually be this good? You have both of your Warp Prisms die. Your entire thing gets scouted. Your opponent makes double Spine Crawlers, and you still roll over him. That's just not fair, Neeb.
Yeah. Well, wow. Hey, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Neeb is so good. I mean, this is just what we expected to happen. He's got the Archons ripping the third base to pieces. Lings are going to come out, but the Archons don't care. And Neeb is going to do some Saraling today. He's going to make some players look real bad. PandaBearMe is a great player. He's here for a reason, but he ain't Neeb.
Oh, man. There it is. GG. 3-0. Neeb takes the series and moves on to the semifinals. And, of course, going to walk away with a bit more money, a bit more WCS points, and that seed at Austin.
And Neeb looking really good. Not the toughest match that he'll have today, but I think that says, you know, anyone else that's walking, you're like, is Neeb vulnerable today? You know?
He's looking good.
Someone put kryptonite in his cornflakes? Like, no, he's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, oh, man, that is a brutal, brutal series for PandaBearMe. But hey, he still walks away with a bit of money, a couple of WCS points for himself, and hopefully, like you said, hopefully he's not going to feel too down about it because it's Neeb. Everyone knows that this guy is likely to potentially win the entirety of WCS Challenger. He's kind of the favorite for it, but meh. It feels bad, man.
Neeb is just that good. I'm excited to see. I think his next matchup won't be too difficult either, because he's going to play the winner of Puck versus Semper. And both of those players, I like them a lot. I don't see either of them beating Neeb. Puck has some fun PvP builds, but I mean, Neeb's real challenge should end up being Scarlet in the finals if Scarlet's playing well today. I don't know anyone else that's going to beat him that we have here in the top 8. Though.
That's the expectation for almost everybody, is that we're going to have a Scarlet versus Neeb finals eventually, and then Neeb is probably still going to win out in the end just because more recently he's been doing better versus Scarlet. But those two are so weird. They play so much, and they're such good friends that I feel like they just end up mind-gaming each other to no end.
I definitely think Scarlet can beat Neeb, but she has to be on form. That's the big question that we just don't, like, because she is from day to day. She varies very heavily, so...
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, of course, that does it for our first series, but we still have more series coming on up, as Nate just mentioned.